Hey everyone, Adam here with a special video for you. This one's about the upcoming Anno 117 game. Maybe ask yourself, hey, how do you know this stuff about Anno 117? To which I want to be super upfront about. Ubisoft did reach out to me and offered to let me try the current version of the game for 4 hours. So first off, thanks to Ubisoft for the opportunity and sponsoring this experience and video.
Ah, so you wish to be a Roman governor? Congratulations. The Emperor himself has deemed you worthy to take charge of these lands. Once struck by disaster, they're now ready for new leadership. Your leadership. Your story begins here, on a humble island with azure shores. Latium. Whether you dream of a bustling trade empire or a conquest-driven dominion, success is never guaranteed. No two cities will ever be the same, as every choice you make shapes your city in your image. Govern well, and the Emperor will sing your praises. Govern poorly, and, well, the consequences won't be pleasant. Every decision you make will shape your legacy. So how does one become a good governor? Let's find out.
I do have a few quick comments about the sponsored experience itself, but I wanted to give a brief kind of TLDW for anyone looking to save a little time. I can really genuinely encapsulate my initial thoughts of the game by telling you that at the end of my 4-hour session, I needed to play more. I immediately wanted to continue exploring the game. I went straight to my contact and asked if we knew when it'd be out or when I could participate in a beta or something maybe. So in short, the core of the game experience was super fun. The 4 hours flew by and I enjoyed every minute of it despite the testing situation. In fact, after I was done with this, I immediately scheduled to play Anno 1800 on my stream just to get a little bit of that Anno fix while waiting for this to come out. So looping back around to those quick comments about testing I mentioned, to test the game I had to remotely connect to a computer several states away and control the pointer and keys on that machine from my own. I only mention this because the nature of that means that the video capture is a bit lower than you're used to. If you're a regular here, you know that I generally play and record and produce in 4K. This footage is in 1080. No worries though, I did confirm that the game itself will be released in greater resolutions. I only really mention this because, as you'll see, despite the 1080p limitation and streaming the gameplay remotely, it still looks pretty great to me. I honestly can't wait to see it in 4K and dive down into like the streets of ancient Rome and look around and see all the stuff. Oh, the last thing about the capture I wanted to mention really quickly is due to the remote nature, my recording didn't have the mouse pointer on the final video for some reason. But don't worry, there was a mouse. I used a mouse. You'll have a mouse too. All right, so now let's actually get into what I experienced during that 4-hour playthrough. Anno 117 is the newest in the Anno series, or will be, and as the title suggests, takes you back to ancient Rome. For me personally, and according to all those "how often do you think about the Roman Empire" memes that were swirling around a few months ago, I really do love that specific section of history. Anno 117 positions itself to be one of the most expansive games ever made about that period, about the Roman Empire. If you're like me and are newer to Anno in general, you may not even know what sort of game these are. Anno is a city building and management game with supply chains, narrative events, and real-time combat. That last bit threw you off a little bit because I did notice that feedback a little in my 1800 stream. Don't worry, Anno offers tons of difficulty sliders and customization for your gameplay experience. You can play on any difficulty and still fully disable combat or NPC factions if you'd like. There's even a sandbox mode. You can, like I said, you can really dial things into what you want your experience to play like. In Anno 117, you get to step into the role of a newly appointed governor, a position of great power within the Roman Empire. As governor, you'll oversee and manage the systems I mentioned a moment ago. It also allows you to actually go down and experience Rome firsthand. There seems to be so much detail in even the first startings of village life that I can't wait for this to come out, crank up the 4K, and get down there on the streets to look around. One of the things that really stood out to me when playing this session was the ways that I could shape my own empire. I loved my Anno 1800 playthrough, but for the most part, there weren't a ton of choices around each civilian tier or option of how to move forward. In Anno 117, you can even choose which basic food your starting citizens get, and doing so will give them different bonuses. If you want to go all out, you can provide both types and make your citizens even happier. If you are familiar with Anno 1800, you may relate this way of providing additional want or need as the lifestyle bonuses. It's pretty similar, but really has its own flavor to it. To continue on this same tangent of choice, it seemed like many narrative events were geared for you to forge the empire in the image you see fit. It was very infrequent that one choice out of the list of options was like the obvious winner. If that wasn't enough, you can also determine which god your population worships for even more customization and options. This is one of the systems I really wanted to spend more time on and dive into, but like I said, time was limited. I only had 4 hours and it flew by. I did discover that you can actually choose pantheons per island in your governance though, which opens up all kinds of possibilities for themed or streamlined islands. In addition to all these options, you also eventually get the option to start adopting Celtic traditions and bring those to your citizens, even eventually traveling to Albion. And don't get me wrong, these choices are not just frills thrown on for a little different flavor. One of the systems that might illustrate this the best is the new expansive research tree that you can see here. Want to quickly become an economic powerhouse to control the world through the flow of currency? You can do that. Or perhaps you want to put everything into military research, plunder trade lines, and take what you want by force. Well, praise Mars, I guess, because you can do that also. Seriously, like all the choices in Anno 117 seem to shape the gameplay and the world around you. This is super important to me as I love the idea of crazy replayability, themed runs, and so on. I definitely won't be running out of Anno 117 content playthroughs to do. I seriously can't wait to use all this flexibility and build various towns and cities and cover the terrain and sit back and watch the sunset as my citizens work their daily lives on my distant islands. Before we wrap things up, I just wanted to thank Ubisoft again for reaching out, letting me experience Anno 117, and sponsoring this video. I'll definitely be playing Anno 117 on release, which I've been told we can expect late this year, though you can go ahead and wishlist it if you'd like. There's also a beta sign up right now on the Ubisoft sites, which I immediately signed up for, and you can get more information by following the link in the description and the pinned comment. And if you want to check out my recent Anno 1800 run, I'll leave that down there also. As always, thank you for watching.
Your rule may extend to lands beyond the Empire, like Albion, where Celts resist Roman influence. Trust me, Governor, it's a wild place. And they even wear trousers. Will you protect Celtic traditions or remain loyal to Roman ambition?